Okay, competition. Now this is really important too, and this complements demand, because if you have a lot of demand for your product but really tough and a lot of competition out there, it's not a good niche to get into, because there's plenty of others with a ton of demand and low competition for you to take the majority of the market without having to spend hours and hours trying to outsmart all these competitors with hundreds of thousands of dollars of ad budget. So I'm going to show you right here how to identify a low competition market that also, if you couple it with the previous lecture, you know has high demand and low competition. So we'll be 2/5 of the way to having a successful product. So let's jump straight in. The competition rule is pretty simple and again, very flexible. I'll go over exactly how flexible this is at the end of this lecture. But for now, the basic rule is 3 by 100, 300. A little bit confusing way to put it, but basically you want 3 products on the first page with less than 100 reviews. You also want less than 300 reviews on average on the first page, because once again, the first page of Amazon is where you want your product to be. So if I come over to Amazon and now we're going to type in cat collar. This front page is where 90% of people buy from. No one's scrolling down here and going, oh, second page, third page, 400th page. People look right here and they tend to make a decision pretty damn quickly. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that once we launch our product and market our product, we're going to be on this first page. So these guys are your competitors and these are the guys making money. So it's always on the first page. And we're going to go through a few examples now. The first one being our beloved splatter screens. I'm going to pull that back up so we can go through it. 3 products on the first page with less than 100 reviews. So this is the first page. You can sort by number of reviews by clicking on it. And you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 products there. We know we can get 100 reviews in just a couple of months on Amazon. So we know within a couple of months we can be ahead of these guys and therefore making similar money, if not much more money than that. The second one, less than 300 average reviews. Once again, Jungle Scout makes this really easy. Unicorn Smasher is probably the same thing. 205 reviews on average on the first page. So that's just the sum of this divided by, I think, 18, however many there are of it. And you can see that's 205. Now, the other thing that's not a rule, but you sort of don't want anybody over here with 10,000 or 20,000 reviews, because that is a very strong competitor, normally a brand name such as Nike or Rubbermaid or something like that, who are just crushing it. You probably want to stay away from those markets just because people trust them and people know them and they got 20,000 reviews, which is a solid 5 years of work. So you definitely want to stay away from those. You can see the number one most reviewed is only 524 here, which is very easy to catch. So no problems there. Let's go through a couple more not so successful ones, just so we can see what we're looking at. So we'll start over with diapers, which is crazy popular. I mean, Amazon bought diapers.com and they're in the market trying to sell them all the time. You can see their revenue's insane. Almost 500,000, almost $500,000 a month in revenue for Pampers. This one right here. Sort by reviews, 10,000, 6,000, 3,000, 3, 2, 2, 2, 2, few ones. Crazy. Doesn't fit our criteria. Overly crowded. Average of 2,300 reviews. Stay far away from anything like that. Ant Farm. Sort by number of reviews. 386 is the total. Really low. 160, 146. You can see it definitely fulfills the criteria. Definitely less than, more than 3 with less than 100 reviews. And on average, 77 reviews. Really easy to get into. Once again, competition is normally going to correlate with how profitable a product is. And you really want to find the perfect balance of high demand or high profitability and low competition. You can see because they have less reviews than the diapers, for example, they're making a lot less money, a lot less demand for it. But again, fulfills this section of the course, which is just looking at competition. Barbecue gloves. Number of reviews, average 637. You know right away it's going to be tough. Eco Grips, I don't know if they're a huge brand name, but they have almost 5,000 reviews. Again, going to be tough, and they're not actually making that much revenue, so this is not going to be a great niche to get into. They do, however, fulfill more than 3 people with less than 100 reviews. One of them making 27,000, and really quickly, I want to just see if that is consistent. If my internet would let it load. It does seem to be consistent. I don't know how they get that from $16 and 4,000. I would say that's an error. I was in tools and home, so he's in a different category. I would say that's an error right here. At a 4,000 rank and at $16, it doesn't really, I can't see how that would add up to $27,000 a month. Especially when a rank of 1,200 up here and $23 only adds to 14,000. So I'm going to disregard that number down here. These guys aren't making money or as much money as you could be in a different niche. Too many reviews and too much competition there. And there's our splatter screen. There's our cat collars. We're going to do cat collars as the last example. And as that loads up, you can see there's a few with high amount of reviews, but there's also a few with definitely less than 100. So average of 341, so pretty good. Not less than 300, but you know, once again, these rules are flexible. And depending on how much money and how much marketing experience you have, 3 under 100 is great. So this could very much be a great niche competitive wise, but again, a lot of other factors to look at, such as doesn't fulfill the demand criteria that we just went through, but once again, that would fulfill the competition criteria. So the one thing I wanted to touch on here is made a really simple graph here, competition versus profit in an item. This is just in Photoshop. I whipped it together in 10 seconds. The more competition you have in a product, the more profit it is going to make by far, because it's just natural. Anything that has a lot of profit coming in, more and more competitors are going to flock to that and try and take a piece of that pie. Anyone with lower profit is inherently going to have less competition. What we are looking for, though, is some outliers. So anyone with lower competition and higher profit. So we want, let me just get a nice looking square up here, right here, this upper left-hand quadrant. Something that's highly profitable and low competition. It's probably going to sit around this line because these niches are super rare and not really worth the time thinking about or trying to find them. But we want something that's going to be high profit and low competition, obviously. But the thing is, if you have a high budget, if you have, say, $50,000 you're going to try and invest and a marketing background, you can very well dive straight into something that's high profit and high competition over here. I've done this in the past, and this is where I've made the most money because literally there's just the most profit to be made there. I feel like I can outsmart my competitors and outmarket them, and I'm going to teach you in the next module exactly how you can do that too. But this is a very flexible couple of rules right here, depending on 1, your marketing experience, and 2, how much money you have to invest. If you're just starting, you have between $2,000 and $5,000 to invest. You don't have that much of a marketing background. You definitely want to go for the lower profit. Now, it doesn't mean it has to be no profit. You can still make $2,000, $5,000 a month, but there's a lot less competition. And up here, you're going to be making $100,000 plus a month, which is awesome. But I'd say baby step it and get at least your first product profitable and making a couple $1,000s a month if you are a beginner. The last thing that I want to touch on in competition, and it's a very important thing that we've got a whole module on, but can you differentiate from the competition? So even though something might be quite competitive, you can see that all these look very much the same, these splatter screens. They all seem to be in metal, all similar pitches. This guy's got a little bit of an extra handle here. This guy looks definitely a little bit more special. You're not allowed to do this, so I don't recommend putting any extra graphics in here. But all the splatter screens are relatively the same. These guys here. You want to know, and there's a whole module on this again, so we were just touching on this here. Is there demand for something like a green splatter screen, or an extra large splatter screen, or an extra small hold splatter screen? I'm going to show you how to dig into that, but right now just keep it in the back of the mind. If there is room to innovate in a niche, for example, a cat collar, someone might want it might be a huge trend to have a pink cat collar or a Christmas cat collar, for example, and there's nothing here that's doing that right now. These aren't all your competitors then, because this guy's not in the Christmas cat collar niche and this guy's not either. None of them are. Again, we're going to talk about it in the next module, but in the back of the mind, if you're going for something very specific and you're making your product unique, then you don't have to stick hard and fast by these rules either. That's it for competition right now. We're going to now dig into how profitable can your product be based on how much it costs to source and how much you can sell it for. Let's jump into that now.